Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. If you keep up with the livestock world, you know one of the biggest shows happens in Louisville, Kentucky. Nearly 30,000 entries from 48 states, including Louisiana, converged on the green shavings for an experience unlike any other. This week, TWILA's Breann Hendrickson takes us to the show barn for a first-hand look.
For many, it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to step onto the green shavings at what many call the Super Bowl of livestock shows, also known as the North American International Livestock Expo. Making her debut from Louisiana is Bradley Bork.
It was just nothing like I've ever gone to a show before. There's this tunnel, and it's just really awesome to see how many cattle there are and the quality there is. And it's just awesome, the people here, and how much people are really in the livestock industry and how much people actually want to be here.
This team's story does not start here. Bork traded in her shopping bags to search for her teammate.
I've had this steer since Black Friday of last year. I remember that because normal people wake up early on Black Friday to go shopping, but we actually woke up early to go look at steers and pick one out and bring one home, and that's what we did. So I've had them for almost a year now. To
attend with the Louisiana 4-H, FFA, and LSU Ag Center, this team had to pass the selection of one person.
So at our Louisiana State Fair, they gave pretty much everyone the opportunity to come here. You had to place high enough in your class, and the judge picked who he wanted to come on the trip and who he thought could make the trip and do well over here. So each breed and each species pretty much picked 3 or 4 out of each breed. So we got to come here, and it was about 46 of us, I'm pretty sure, that came. And we've all been just loving it, and we're just thankful to come here.
With a final walk down the tunnel as the 2022 show season comes to an end before this team parts ways, Bork reminisces on her teammate.
You grow close with these animals, and you understand them, you know them better than anyone else. You know what they don't like, what they do like. You just know all of it about them, and it's just kind of hard to let them go because it's just, you put so much into them and now they're just gone. But I mean, they did what they had to do, and that just comes with it, so.
If you would like to learn more about placings from this show or how you can show at a national level, you can head over to our website, twilatv.org. And Avery, 48 kids got to go on this trip, and they loved every minute of it.
So 48 from Louisiana, and how many of them experienced something for the first time?
They experienced snow for the first time.
Snow?
Yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't just like a small little, I think we had about 2 inches, about 1 inch to 2 inch.
So accumulation,
Yeah.
enough to hit someone in the head with a snowball.
And they did. Out at the steer turnouts, they were having snowball fights. So they had a good time.
Livestock shows always brings about new experiences. Thank you very much, Breann Hendrickson. Well, more than 20 inches of rain fell in parts of Louisiana over the course of about 2 weeks in August. One of the crops most impacted was soybeans. A large part of the state's crop was ready to harvest when rain set in. This week, TWILA's Karl Wiggers traveled to Washington, D.C., where some of those farmers affected by the rains are telling their story on Capitol Hill.
The birds have plenty of puddles to play in right now on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. For these Northeast Louisiana soybean farmers, the weather was an unpleasant reminder of the month of August. But that's exactly why these men are here on Capitol Hill telling about the devastating damage they saw in their crops this year. Will Miller had more than 2,000 acres of really good soybeans ready to harvest when a 2-week wet spell settled in around his farm.
You know, this is by far the most expensive crop we've ever raised, but, you know, we'd had a lot of sunshine throughout the summer, and sunshine and water equals a great crop. The irrigated crop was looking phenomenal, and it still kind of was. I mean, after everything it went through, to still have the yields we had, you know, you had a jam-up crop in the field that just got ruined.
That story is similar for all of these farmers whose farms stretch from East Carroll down to Concordia Parish. Each of them sold a large amount of their soybeans for the salvage price of $4.25 per bushel. Those same beans had a market value near $15 per bushel before the quality of the beans deteriorated. As Miller explains, this shortfall is not covered appropriately by crop insurance that most farmers in the state were counting on to be their safety net. This means when disaster strikes like it did this year, farmers are struggling to make ends meet.
Where we lost a lot of our income was on quality loss, not on bushels lost. It's the same difference, and that's why we're here is, crop insurance doesn't cover quality loss as it should. It can help, a little bit, but, you can still lose 30 or 40% of your income, but you made enough bushels to not trigger any insurance claim. So we didn't end up with any money from our insurance program on a year that we desperately needed it.
For Andy Brown, the National Affairs Coordinator at Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the work on this issue began before the rain quit falling in August. Now on the Hill with Farm Bureau leaders, Brown says he's proud to see these farmers step up to tell their stories.
It's been a great thing to see, to flex that Farm Bureau muscle, to show that we have professional staff that keep these relationships going, but also have great leadership that take the time to make these relationships happen. So this is really the pinnacle of what Farm Bureau does, to be that voice of Louisiana agriculture here in the nation's capital on the biggest stage, and we're here to see what we can do to try to help our farmers back home.
Everyone around this table is hoping that help comes soon for Louisiana farmers. As Miller says, the disaster relief that they're asking for is no different than a planting date, a good rain, or a crop that's ready to harvest. Timing is everything.
Everything in farming is timeliness, and including government aid on disaster, it needs to be timely.
It really pays off on a time like this to have experienced leaders that know how to come and communicate with their elected officials, because I can do that until I'm blue in the face, but until those that vote for them and represent that large membership that we have come up here and do this in person, all the rest of it's for naught. So it's great to have leaders that are willing to step up and represent their peers back home up here in Washington, D.C.
These trips are vital to the work that Louisiana Farm Bureau does year-round. The number one thing that farmers can do when a policy is affecting them is tell their story. Now, the data and personal accounts shared on this week's trip are in the hands of the agency staff and lawmakers in D.C. Now, hopefully, we will hear some news from disaster funding coming to Louisiana farmers in the next weeks in the form of a continuing resolution or an omnibus spending bill. And Avery, lots of meetings. It's a fast-paced trip. I think it was a very successful trip, but there's no real answer yet. There's a lot of politics involved. As you know, there's always politics involved. But how that funding may come and the timeline of it, it's anybody's guess right now based on what a lot of the meetings were saying. But one thing that was clear was that the farmers' message is heard and known within our delegation and beyond. So that was, I think, very encouraging to all the farmers, and especially to Andy Brown. It was kind of a confirmation that the work he's been putting in is actually taking hold.
And we're fortunate in Louisiana that we've held on to our entire delegation. Every single one of our incumbents has won re-election or went in unopposed. So that had to make things a little bit easier, because a lot of these farmers already know their congressman and congresswoman. Right.
And in fact, Congresswoman Julia Letlow, sitting on the Appropriations Committee now, that's a huge deal for especially funding like this. That's where this is going to come from. And she's been a champion. She's always said, I'm a champion for agriculture, and she has been, because a lot of people we were speaking with from outside of our delegation even were saying, oh, we've heard from Letlow's office about this. And they've been beating that drum there in D.C. for the farmers in Louisiana, and it's been really cool. Also, she made the comment, I didn't even have to have a camera on her or anything. She said, you guys coming here and telling your stories, talking to the farmers, that's the best thing you can do for yourself and your neighbors back home, because I can say it till I'm blue in the face, but it has teeth whenever you come and you tell your own story. So I was just like, Andy Brown was just like, you heard her right there, said it. So it was really encouraging, and there was I think, great reception from both farmers and
staff up in D.C.
Well, I'm glad that you went and made that trip to tell that story as well. Thank you very much, Karl Wiggers. Well, the Louisiana sugarcane belt has seen significant expansion during the past 10 years. Because of this growth, the LSU Ag Center is engaged in a research project aimed at developing varieties and answering questions growers have in the northern reaches of the cane-growing region. LSU Ag Center reporter Craig Gautreaux has this report from Central Louisiana.
You will find only one field of sugarcane farther north in the northern hemisphere than this one at the LSU Ag Center Dean Lee Research and Extension Center near Alexandria. Scientists are looking for ways to improve sugarcane characteristics, and this 13-acre plot will serve as the epicenter for research as sugarcane continues moving northward.
It is a different environment and it deserves to have a more tailored questions and recommendations for this region.
Reyes said the recommendations for growing sugarcane in the area have come from on-farm trials. He wants a more data-intensive study that he can monitor closely and try different growing strategies.
So the main idea here is to be able to control the environment, to control the management, and to have a more complete description of what's going on with the crop.
While the sugarcane breeding program will remain in South Louisiana, 33 influential commercial varieties are being studied for traits beneficial to growers in the area.
Early maturing, higher sugar concentration, again, cold tolerance are some crop traits that would be even more important in the central part of the state.
Because of logistical issues, farmers in the central region could benefit from varieties with higher concentrations of sugar.
The grower would have a higher sugar yield without having to haul too much biomass or material all the way to the mills in the south part of the state.
Reyes said there's a similar but smaller plot of cane at the Northeast Research Station in Tensas Parish. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
Some of the environmental challenges facing sugarcane growers in central Louisiana include cooler temperatures, less rainfall, and different soil types than their counterparts to the south. Not far from the Dean Lee Research Station, sugarcane harvest is well underway. Will Bain and his family have more than 2,300 acres of sugarcane near Bunkie, Louisiana. This week, TWILA's Neil Melancon travels there to see how this fourth-generation farm is making headway.
Sugarcane harvest is rolling along in Avoyelles Parish. Recent rains have made things muddy, and Will Bain, who helps run his family farm near Bunkie, says in spite of the conditions, the mills they deliver to have to be fed.
Once the factories start on day one, they want a daily quota from all the farmers. So everybody basically starts together and finishes together. Therefore, you haul each and every day that percent of your crop, roughly 1% of your crop. This year's grind is actually going to be about 110 days, so we're hauling a little bit less than 1% of our total crop each day.
Will says the cloudy skies in late November mark a big difference from the way cane harvest got started this year.
September and October combined, I think we only had like 3 to 4 tenths of rain those 2 months. So when the harvest started mid-September, we were very dry. All the way through the end of October, we cut all our backland, everything went really smooth, but then as soon as November started, we started getting several rains, and a lot of them have been a couple of inches.
Despite the rapid progress of harvest early on, Will says the combination of recent rain and the amount of sugarcane being grown is slowing harvest down.
The overall crop for the state, the acres are up, the crop seems to be good, so we're right at halfway at this point in the game, which is by no means ahead. We actually kind of going to be long this year, going to the middle of January.
The good news is that while things are slow and muddy, the quality of the crop is looking good.
We started off the year, the cane was a little bit light, being that it was so dry, but the sugar content was very high, higher than normal, anywhere from 225 to 235 for our daily averages. Then once the rain started, the weight did pick up in the crop. We're right at about 37.5 tons for our year-to-date average, but the cane that we've cut the last several weeks has all been over 40 tons.
Now, Will's father passed away in 2008, but 3 of his uncles and 1 of his cousins farmed together there with him. Will has 2 sons and says 1 at least is studying agribusiness at LSU to become the 5th generation working these lands. And Avery, this year we may be setting a record of total cane acres. I heard from the LSU Ag Center, 480,000 acres in 2021. $515,000
Oh, wow.
this year.
That's a lot of cane, and that's going to take a long time to come in.
Yeah.
How are the mills handling this?
Well, they're running every day. I mean, that's what they're doing, and I think January 15 is probably the minimum that they're going to go to. They may go, some even may go longer, and I know Will delivers to at least 3 different mills, so, you know, they're all super busy right now trying to bring in all that cane.
Grinding season goes on. Thank you very much, Neil Melancon. Well, as you heard in Neil's story, after a drought in September and October, November was wet for many of the growing areas of the state. The dry weather was celebrated by many in the sugarcane industry as it allowed for easier harvest conditions. For other commodities, some much-needed field work was a lot easier as well. Jay Grimes, a climatologist with the LSU Ag Center and chief meteorologist at WAFB-TV in Baton Rouge, says we might see a return to that dry pattern. The climate models are calling slightly below normal precipitation for the next couple of months. Grimes says that's unusual for Louisiana, which usually gets some surplus moisture during that time.
Winter is actually a surplus time on average. We get way more rain than we need to keep the environment happy. But there's an advantage to dry winters and early springs. The flood threat goes down. But we don't want it to be too dry for too long. Look, Louisiana is the wettest state in the lower 48, and the environment and even South Louisiana agriculture is partly dependent upon that abundance of rain. So prolonged runs of drought are pretty impactful here in Louisiana.
Despite the wet November, the USDA drought monitor shows soil moisture below normal for much of north and southeast Louisiana. Still to come on TWILA, there's a new program at a local university to train up new farmers, ranchers, drone pilots, and more. And it's free. Stay with us. If you're not already, do you want to be a farmer? What about a rancher? How about running a drone business for agriculture or becoming a crop consultant? Those are all now even more accessible with the help of a program at Louisiana State University Eunice called Sustaining Future Farms in Louisiana. It's a free 6-month program to earn college credit, skill-based training, and a foot in the door of some incredible farming operations.
If you just have an interest in just seeing what you could do with an ag degree or an ag skill-based training, then, you know, this is what this program can provide for you.
I'll start the drone program in spring, which is next semester. I'll graduate between 2024 and 2025, and I'll have my license and everything. I want to start my own business, but if I can get into an apprentice job first and really work with farmers and other people out there, then, you know, it'll really set the tone, set the pace, and then, you know, hopefully just take my own business and just run.
Besides giving free training, there's free work, you know, there's paid work. You know, they can see, you know, what is it like to work in a beef manufacturing company.
When we got involved with the business in Eunice, we thought it was perfect that, hey, let's partner up with LSUE. It's basically in our backyard. What can we do for local veterans, local you know, students that are wanting to get into ag? Any way we can, even if we can't employ them directly, push them into different parts of the business that they may not have thought of were agriculture, you know, and it could be in a sales role, could be in business management, could be on a farm somewhere, it could be on a cattle ranch.
Reed Aviation down the road has agreed to let us bring our drone pathway participants on his farm or on his field, and whenever he sprays with his crop duster, we can evaluate those fields for drift. So there's going to be a lot of great opportunities to like get some practical experience outside of, you know, their paid work.
As I've gotten more experience in my career, I want to be someone that I wish I had when I was just coming out of the service, right? Who's a contact that can give me some ideas, that can point me in a direction as far as education goes, as far as career. There's so many options out there that I just didn't know getting out of the service. And so I want to be the person that I wish I had back then.
Applications are now open for the spring semester. If you would like to learn more about the program, head over to our website at twilatv.org. Teachers do not get enough recognition. There, I said it. And teachers who incorporate agriculture into their lessons, well, they deserve even more recognition. That's why the Louisiana Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom program recognizes one teacher each year who does an exceptional job of working agriculture into math, science, English, and language arts lessons. The time is now to nominate a teacher you know as the 2023 Louisiana Ag in the Classroom Teacher of the Year. The deadline to nominate someone is January 31st, 2023. For full instructions on how to nominate someone and for the online nomination form, visit our website at twilatv.org or just click the link with this story online. The Louisiana seafood industry is facing difficult times because of rising inputs, storms, and imports flooding the market. To help producers and processors, the LSU Ag Center and Louisiana Sea Grant have opened a seafood processing demonstration lab. LSU Ag Center correspondent Craig Gautreaux joins us again from the Iberia Research Station.
Louisiana is known for its seafood, but that industry is struggling. Producers are now having to come up with creative ways to market their products to consumers. The LSU Ag Center and Louisiana Sea Grant have created a demonstration processing lab aimed at showing producers how to add value to their products.
So this is going to be a great benefit to develop our value-added seafood world out there and help mom-and-pop processors and well-established processors come up with a new product, get to the next level.
One way to increase value is to market a high-quality product. The demonstration lab has a wide variety of equipment that can add value to a product and will also teach proper handling techniques to ensure freshness.
Seafood is very perishable, so we just teach them from beginning, ice it properly, and then just different ways that they can process it to make it available for consumer and also convenient for consumers.
To demonstrate proper icing techniques, the lab has a flake ice machine that helps preserve the catch efficiently.
Flake ice is superior because it is small and it doesn't damage the surface of the seafood product. It's softer, smoother, and it lasts longer.
Louisiana's shrimping industry has been decimated by cheap imports. Some shrimpers believe in order to survive, they must rethink the way they market their product.
We should be able to get a premium for our shrimp with the amount of shrimp that people eat, and the only way to get a premium is to do, a high quality, value added product, and then that'll bring a premium.
The lab is home to 7 different machines that can be used to process seafood and aid in making value added products. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
Louisiana's seafood industry contributes nearly $1 billion a year to the state's economy. Still to come on TWILA, we have a Christmas gift guide for farmers that you can sing along with. Stay with us. The holiday season is in full swing, and as a wise elf once said, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is to sing loud for all to hear, which is exactly what we're doing in this week's TWILA Boost. Well, kinda. Fortunately for you at home, we are sparing you our voices, which we kind of raise a lot on this set singing stupid songs from the 80s, and we're leaving it to the pros, or should we say the bros. The Peterson Farm brothers have a talent for taking just about any song or social media trend and relating it to the farm. And apparently Christmas carols are no exception. Here is their rendition of the timeless classic, The 12 Days of Christmas.
12 tools to fix things.
11 shirts and hats.
10 pairs of socks. 9 16th wrenches.
8 rolls of duct tape.
7 types of footwear. 6 work gloves to wear.
5 tractor tread rings. 4 ratchet straps.
3 pliers. 2 pocket knives. And a gift card to Tractor Supply.
While I think their intent was humor, they also happen to provide some really good gift ideas for any farmer you may know on your list. Think of it as a farmer's gift guide in a song form brought to you by the Peterson Farm brothers. We'll link you to the full video and their other holiday-themed parodies like Things Farmers Get for Christmas on our website at twilatv.org. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll continue to get you ready for the holidays. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find all these stories and more on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know when we put something new out. For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.